It's backseat drivers time. Good evening and welcome to Backseat Drivers number 5 for season 2023. This week, Lewis claims that Red Bull has got the fastest car he's ever seen. To join me to discuss these topics and many more, we've got Rob, or Fudd, Carlos Sainz fan this week, hey?
Yep, number one.
And we've got Matt, who's Lance Stroll's biggest fan.
I'm all aboard the Martin train.
I think there's a few of us jumping on board that one.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be the train to be in a couple of weeks when Perez's dad, when Verstappen's dad gets a bit too angry, and there's a big where the two older daddies fight, and there's an awkward conversation with Ginger Spice.
It was a little bit awkward there at the end of the race when you
that
saw...
was creepily awkward. I mean, even if you don't like your son's used to winning all the time, millions of people are going to see you, and it doesn't matter what you were thinking. It's just going to look like you were an angry man because I don't know. You assumed that he was just going to slow down and let Max win.
Yeah. But he
was
also,
starting 15th.
He also cracked it at qualifying too. When Max, when he had the problems in qualifying, you just saw Joss take his headset off and walk away. I'm just like, grow up.
Does he not know how the correct way of taking off a headset? It's vertically straight into the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. It's not like it's your child going go-karting and things like that. This is, Formula One. He's a two-time world champion now. Yeah. It's probably time to take a chill pill when things go wrong.
I mean, he was in 15th, Dave, and he finished second. I think you should be happy with that. That being said, it looked like he was cheating. It looks like how I play F1, where you put it on easy mode, and you're like, I'll make it fun, and I'll just start from the back of the grid because there's an achievement to unlock called back of the grid, which means you gain 10 positions or something in a race.
They've definitely got this whole DRS straight line thing sorted after.
Yes.
Realistically, Red Bull were always slow in a straight line, and then the last few years they've really worked that out. And although the car's probably it wasn't that much quicker through the twisty parts, it was just like, you could tell Max is just like, wait, okay, straight.
It destroyed George. Didn't they say it was looking at like an F1 and F2 car when they raced, when George was there? It almost looked like George just slowed down. Well,
you've also got to remember, though, that the commentators are going to ham it up a bit because...
Yeah, obviously.
They are very biased towards Mercedes because of the two British drivers.
Wait, are they British, Dave? That's the first I've heard of this.
McLaren is a British team.
McLaren or Mercedes?
No, sorry, Mercedes. They're all British, really.
I think, Rob, what you're trying to say is Mercedes is the national English team, and then McLaren is like the backup League Two team.
Yes.
The juniors, the under 19s or something.
It's Ferrari or nothing.
for this week.
Yeah. Next week, someone completely different.
Yeah. Well, that all makes sense.
Yeah. It just depends on what hat is on sale each week is who I'm going for.
I think you'll find McLaren hats are going to be real cheap really soon. And then I'll be sitting next to Williams, and Williams will be like, "Welcome to the bargain bin." It'll be like that internet meme where it says "first time," and it would just be Williams hat crowding around the hat.
I've lost my Williams hat.
Can you pick up Dan Ricciardo McLaren hats really cheap at the moment?
Nah,
probably at an outlet centre. You know what, Dave? They're going to sell them the Red Bull ones at the Grand Prix. Mark my words, they will sell Daniel Ricciardo hats at Albert Park at full price.
McLaren will still be selling full price Daniel Ricciardo hats too. They've got to pay off his gardening fee.
Because you know what they'll do, Dave? They're like, hey, remember when we had Dan? Forget the bit where we kicked him out, but you should buy a hat from us because, like Rob said, we need the money.
Yeah.
We need to sell 1 million of these hats to make the money back.
Well, those kind of prices, you probably would only take $1 million to make up, well, plus the rest.
That's true. So what did we think of the race, Dave?
Oh, there was a race on, was there?
Well, there was 2 cars out the front, and then 20-odd other cars.
Well, at least they made it interesting by having the drive shaft failure in qualifying.
Yeah, but like I think everyone, even me, could see that when Max was like, "I'm going to have to start at the back," I just thought, "Oh, maybe he won't get first, but he'll definitely get second."
So where did Max start from? 15th.
15th. Where did he start in Spa last year?
Not a bit further up, I think.
Because, to be honest, that felt like more carnage for him, than what this did.
Yeah.
That really, it was just a matter of time that he took the lead and won that race. Whereas this one, obviously it was only Perez that he was challenging, but it never felt like he was actually going to win this race.
No. Well, it sounded like from all the radio chatter that there was a lot of weird. I don't know if you can explain it to me, Dave, but from what it sounds like, they didn't want Max to get fastest lap because Perez had the fastest lap, didn't he?
No, not by that point.
Who had the fastest lap when Max said
Perez did at that point, right at the end? Yeah,
when Max said that's something that I am interested in. I will take these fastest lap points, please.
Yeah, they should have left it to one of the back markers for me.
Max started 14th in Belgium last year.
Yeah,
it's about the same.
Yeah, but his car was
probably a harder track to pass. And yet he smashed everyone that day.
Yeah. I don't know why Perez wasn't further out in front. He was 20 seconds in front of Alonso.
Yep.
Piastri, who finished in 15th, was 85 seconds back. And Max was only 5 seconds behind Perez.
How long does it take to do a lap?
No, it was they were telling him to do minute 32s at the end of the race, or they were telling
so
Perez
he was almost
to do
on
minute
lap
33s and Max to do. Why is Max doing minute 32 then?
Yeah.
Well, because he's chasing you down.
He wants to beat you.
If Max had caught Perez, would they have invoked the old team orders and made him pass?
Nah. Not this early on, I don't think.
I mean, I can see Max doing it. I can see Max trying to overtake him and go, you know why I did it? And everyone's like, yeah, because you're a prick.
Yeah.
But, what was your real reason? I mean, it makes sense if you want to win the Constructors to have Perez and then finish 1-2 and not matter which order it is. As long as you're getting 1-2 on the weekend.
Yeah.
You should, because I think where you're saying, David, most people find the Constructors more of a challenge and more prestige if you win that than if you get the.
No, the drivers is the number one. It's the teams won the Constructors though, because that's what sets the prize money.
Yeah, so if you were Mr. Ginger Spice, you wouldn't care who finishes first or second, as long as they finish first and second.
Yeah, but Red Bull's a bit more. They want the prestige of having the drivers' champion. They're not as fussed with being the Constructors' champion as well. As say, Mercedes they want the Constructors' championship because it's the whole manufacturer, blah blah blah. Whereas Red Bull's a bit more just like we want to say we came first. They don't care that oh, but the team came first. Or it's like, no, our driver came first. Eat a dick, everyone else.
Isn't Max the team from what I've been seeing in the last couple of years? Max is the team.
Yeah.
And his dad, Dmitry Mazepin. He's going to be featured on Drive to Survive next year, complaining in the pits that Max hasn't got the best car.
There was a lot of I have a lot of questions, Dave, for the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
So quick short questions.
No time like now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come on.
So quick short questions for you two. Who is currently the best driver at McLaren? Judging by the last two races.
Piastri.
Not by much though.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So qualified. Well, Piastri out-qualified him this week, which I think Lando had problems. He hit a wall, so that doesn't really count. But in the race, Lando was struggling to get past Sargent, and as soon as he let Oscar go past, he passed Sargent in the next lap, I think.
I'm sure I actually handwrote some notes during the race because I didn't want to do spoilers in our group chat. But didn't they, there was something weird. I haven't got any notes about it.
Yeah.
But didn't they put Piastri on an odd tyre strategy that actually worked out quite well?
Yeah, he was on hards and Lando was on mediums, I believe, at the end.
Most of them were on hards, weren't they?
Yeah, the weird thing was, though, because Piastri already had the hards on and they didn't stop him under the safety car.
No. And
I thought that was strange. But then the hards were obviously the tyre to have at the end. Like, Norris's mediums had probably gone off.
Yeah, I think Piastri had no more mediums left. I think that was that all softs he had left.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's hard to tell in that race. It was two all over the place.
My next question is George better than Lewis?
Yeah.
Also,
if we're going to judge things off just the last race, yes.
Also, my other question is how soon until Alonso wins a race?
As soon as the Red Bulls hit each other.
I did say, Dave, if that happens, I'm going to order us all cheeseburgers. If the two Red Bulls knock each other out and Alonso ends up winning, which I think he's just like the meme picture in the background, I just want him to do something stupid. I think that'll be one of the happiest days.
My fear, though, is that something will happen to Alonso in that race and it'll actually be Stroll who gets. Because previously Stroll's been the one in those odd races to get that result for the team.
And that's what we're all hoping for.
The front three will crash out and Stroll will just drive through
maybe Alonso will have a mechanical problem or something. And then Stroll will be essentially last man standing and take the win.
Either way, I would like to see the Red Bulls take each other out just to speed up the process. Because that was my next question. Do you think Max will just speak to Mr. Ginger Spice and just want Perez out? Because I don't think his times are going to get him kicked out now because he's driving too well.
Yeah, I think the thing is that he's still got his measure. So, but it's just going to take it because it's a bit like the Mercedes thing where they were so far in front that Rosberg was always finishing second. So if Hamilton had an issue, then it takes so long to catch that back up because you haven't got other people in the middle there.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the problem. Like Max, it's going to be hard for Max to build a big championship lead because Perez is essentially going to finish second.
Just my other notice, does the Haas and the I'm calling them Tiny Red Bull car look kind of similar. They both had the same kind of livery, sort of.
A lot, kind of, I suppose.
Because I noticed them when they were fighting for the scraps
Last
at
place.
the end. No,
Yeah.
that was McLaren. I believe McLaren were fighting. McLaren was fighting McLaren for the last spot.
Who came last?
It was Norris in the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bottas. They got Bottas down as
Yeah, it was, yes. Yep.
Do we know what happened to Albon? Because he was a DNF.
He broke down, I think.
Oh, they didn't really talk about him much.
What was the go with the safety car? Did he just hit the entertainment button?
No, from what I heard,
think,
the last vision they had on the track, the car was still out on track.
Because the computer said the car was on track.
Yeah, I know. But look what happened.
Look out the fucking window.
Yeah, I know. But look what happened in Japan when they started bringing out machinery to pick up a truck when there was no safety car.
The car was he'd driven it behind. He'd done the right thing.
But they didn't
He
know
should
that.
have hit his Sky Q button, got the onboard, and seen. Hey,
did the safety car change anything?
No, they were saying that Alonso may have been able to get a better if they'd done it. They were saying if Stroll had pulled in safer, which he couldn't have, because like they said, he'd already parked the car in his spot and like essentially, said, "Remember where we parked? It's the itchy lot," and then left. He could have hit it earlier.
The problem was that the JCB or whatever was parked in the way of Stroll going any further off the track.
Yeah.
So the JCB was in the wrong spot essentially, but he was like the way the track was. You got the corner or whatever, the way you're going, and he was like right off to the side. It's not like you would have even had a car spearing down there and he'd be close to getting hit.
It sounds a bit suspect.
Yeah, I'm all for safety, but there's also a bit of like, have a look at the situation before you call the safety car.
Could be Bianchi with the 55 on at the moment.
They didn't have the number. That was just before they brought in the numbers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, no, he was...
Was he?
17 or something? Because didn't they retire the number?
Maybe. Yeah, number 17 retired in honour.
Fact checkers?
Yeah.
Right,
we don't need it. Google Dave Brain remembered it.
Yeah, 17.
And the other thing, Dave, I wanted to talk about, which I looked up, was Alonso's actual pit. So my understanding, he got 2 penalties, because that's the cool thing to do nowadays. Is one because he couldn't line up the car in the little white lines.
Yes.
Which was not much. But then the second one, which I watched a fair, detail of, it's because I think the rules state that when you pull in, you've got to serve your 5-second penalty. And what happened is the front jack guy touched the car with the jack. And from what Austin Martin was saying is you need to use the jack to align the car for safety when it pulls in. So if the front can touch, the back should be able to. And then I think the F1 went, "Oh, you read it differently to us. Crap. Oops," kind of thing.
Yes, so the problem is they wrote that you're allowed to use the jack to guide the car into place. Just to say that the front jack kind of guides the car into place. But the problem was that the rule said you can use the jack.
Yeah.
So the jack is allowed. They didn't specify the front jack or the rear jack. They just specified the jack.
They're rewording it. Yeah.
So, supposedly they found 7 examples of the jack touching in penalties, which never got picked up.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
But that was, I think they were showing front jack touching
Yeah, maybe.
the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I was saying the front one, like at least the front one's purely for safety, just to get the car in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also like someone not writing the rule properly, and then like partially good on Aston Martin for figuring that out so quickly, and also like bad for the FIA taking so long to come to that. Yeah,
they should have given him that penalty well into the race, not after the race.
There's something with those kind of penalties, you have to give them within 30 minutes of the offence happening.
Yeah.
So even it was too long after by the time they give him the penalty.
Yeah.
But also, Dave, then how are you going to make fun videos of George delivering the third place trophy to down the street?
Or the photo we've got as the background.
Yeah. No, but then after that, I don't know if I sent it to you. Basically, there's a Mercedes made a video of George polishing the trophy and then driving it down, down the street to the other English team.
Yeah. There's like 18 minutes drive from Mercedes in
You know they did that in 10 minutes, though. Just for some extra testing.
Yeah.
Because didn't they awarded it to George on the so what happened? Alonso went on the podium.
They took it off him and then off the podium.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dick move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's if you're not sure, just be like, hey Alonso, just letting you know, we don't know who's getting third right now, but
just
we don't want you to go up there.
Wait for him to put it down and just kind of yank it away while he's not looking.
Yeah. Look over there.
Send him a text message going, got your trophy, give it to George. You'll get it back in a day.
At least, though, he did get to go on the podium, blah, 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 in the end. Because you kind of feel sorry at the time, you kind of feel sorry for George. Like, when you first heard the news, you're like, oh, George didn't get to celebrate on the podium, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then when it was all overturned and that, you're like, oh, well, at least the right person got to go on the podium. Because those things always seem, when someone gets a podium afterwards and it's like, oh, here's a trophy, it always just feels a little bit hollow.
Yeah. But George got to spend a lot of time. Sorry?
They just hand him the trophy and go, hey, sorry, Rob, I came second on the day, but actually it was you. Here you go. Yeah. Take the trophy. No one's going to see you get it, so I don't really care. I got all the praise.
In the Mercedes video, George should have rocked up with a bottle of champagne and sprayed Alonso down again as he handed the trophy. And the same should have happened when Alonso gave the trophy to George. They should have sprayed each other with champagne. So part and parcel with the trophy.
Is Saudi Arabia one of those countries where they use the non-alcoholic wine?
Possibly.
Not 100% sure on that anymore, because they used to make a big deal about whatever was the first one, like Bahrain or whatever. Whereas now it's just nobody cares because it happens at half the races.
Yeah. Also, Dave, I don't know, but will there be VB at the Australian Grand Prix? Do they just shake up a couple of cans?
It'll be whoever's got the pouring rights.
If Bottas wins,
it'd be Heineken.
Which is, I think VB would show some quality.
Heineken.
Yeah. I'd say I think it was Heineken last year. So
it has been for a while.
Yeah.
It's just a giant Heineken bottle.
So when you break into corporate hospitality and someone goes, "Oh, do you want a drink?" and you get it and you take 3 sips in and you're like, "Yeah, this was a bad mistake."
Yeah. I regret everything.
I didn't actually realize Heineken's still its own company. They haven't been bought by one of the 3 big beer owning companies. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So they're not part of any of the big conglomerates, are they?
No. Okay. So they're separate to AB InBev and Kieran. What's the other one? I think
Kieran
the
do a
two big
lot of
ones.
the. They also do cans of cold coffee.
Who? Kieran.
Kieran.
Yeah.
They do Boss Coffee, I believe. Just fun facts that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with F1.
I tried my first cold drip coffee the other week and not sold.
What?
I really like my coffee warm. Hot.
Rob, you can never live in Brunswick.
No,
They'll
felt like
never let you in.
It felt like I left my coffee out for a few hours and then I'm trying to drink it.
You'll have to hand in your hipster card.
Yeah.
Yeah. all your flannel shirts and your single speed bicycle, hand them in to the man who's got his own 8-piece drum kit that he busks on Sydney Road.
So no more vinyl of the day pictures sent to you?
Do we go into Boovy's F2 report?
I think it's F2 o'clock.
Does Matt given all of his 20 questions that may only be 10?
Oh, I had some other questions.
Right.
Well, we can come back to those.
We'll do questions
we can come back to them.
We'll have a quick break and
they don't get any better, Rob.
Yeah, I'm enjoying them.
We wouldn't expect anything more from you or less.
I'm just checking.
Depends how you look at it.
Yeah. We'll all go get ourselves some biscuits and a cup of tea.
Yeah. Enjoy Boovy's F2 report.
Yeah.
Boovy's F2 report.
Hi, and welcome to the Saudi Arabia F2 Grand Prix review. Now, considering this second race in the F2 season, we go in with Rocher on front with 32 points, Bosching on 28, and Maloney on 15. Now, the Saudi race. We'll go straight to qualifying. So, this race, they have the two options as the medium as the primary tyre and the option tyre being the super soft. Yes, apparently F2 still has the super soft. So, in purple, beautiful rainbow colours we used to have in Formula 1, but of course they had to make it easier for new fans, but we'll stay away from that. So in qualifying, there was a red flag for a spin, and that was, we had a couple of red flags there. For sure, actually spun just right at the end as well. So yeah, not very anything. My predictions for in terms of who would actually qualify first, unfortunately, Rocher did not actually make it into the top three. So he did finish third, but Martins, again, his teammate finished first with a 0.7 of a second faster than Berman, who was second, and third was Rocher himself in third. Doohan actually qualified fourth, so did a lot better this qualifying thing. Did a bit better qualifying for this race. Now, for the actual sprint race, again, being F2, was a little bit of everything there. So we had Maloney spin out after on the second lap, which caused a safety car. So basically, everybody had to, being a safety where he spun to, so they needed to have the safety car. So everybody banked up after the safety car. And then they were off again, and then lap 7 we had another safety car again, but this time with the guys that were actually second and that qualified second and third for the main race on Sunday, which was Rocher and Berman. Incident, Rocher, from what I could see, just went in a little too hot and took Berman out with them. Both of them couldn't get their cars restarted, so because of that, they were both out of the race. There was a bit of Rocher definitely apologised to Berman there and then right on the side of the track. And that was it. So apart from that, pretty much the race went as was. With the finishing order was Aisawa finished first in this race. Japanese driver doing really well there. Second was Martins, and third was Darufala. Mick Doohan in the sprint race finished 7th. Then we have the main race, mandatory pit stop. So we're going from there. Straight up, most people in the top 10 had the strategy of going with the super soft first and then switching over to the medium. A couple of outliers outside of 10. Back in the main race, we had two real main incidents that caused virtual safety cars. The first one happened on lap 2 with the VDs and Cordell. They both got together on lap. They just right at the just before the first corner. That's when the incident happened. Bit of a tap there caused both cars to spin off, and they were out of the race. As with F2, they don't have the mechanism that F1 do to actually restart the car. So once they've stalled or they haven't been able to keep their engine running, that's it. They can't return back into the race. Pretty much the race one is pit stops roughly between laps 8 and 10 for the guys that are on the super softs, switching over to the medium compound. And then lap 17, Martin's just spun out. I'm not sure what was happening there. From what the commentators were saying, looks like his rear tires just he just lost grip from the rear, spun out, hit the wall. Then after trying to recover, he still managed to keep the engine running. But as soon as he went over the corner, on the other side, trying to loop it around, engine just stalled then, and then he was out of the race too. Another virtual safety car, so only took a lap off the entire race when they were doing the virtual safety car, and then they went back to running. Apart from that, typical mid-race overtaking maneuvers in the mid-pack. And the race finished off with Vesti finish in first place, with Doohan, our Aussie, on second, and Daruvula finishing in third again. So 2 podiums for Daruvula this weekend. Good to see the Aussie in second. And yeah, Vesti was actually pretty strong all weekend, so it was actually pretty good. So leading to that, with the standings, we have Bosching on 33 points, who's actually currently leading the championship. Pocher, even though he had a really bad weekend, still managed to grab some points this weekend, and he's still second on 32 points. Then we have Iwasawa, who's actually third in the championship on 31, so very close there. Then we got Vesti, who's on 28 points in fourth. Fifth is Daruvula, with his double podiums this weekend, helped him move up in the championship to 24. And I've gone down to 6. Normally I'll just do top 5 I'll be doing top 5 for most of the season, but I've gone to 6 because that's where Doohan is. He's on 20 points after scoring 20 points this weekend and not scoring any last weekend. And with the team's championship, Campus is actually first on 51. Art GP is second on 49 points. Dams is third on 44 points. MP Motorsport is fourth on 43 points, and Prema is fifth on 29 points. And that's the Saudi Arabia FP2 GP wrap up from Bovie. Bye.
So Doohan got himself a podium over the weekend.
He did.
Did either of you watch it?
Yeah.
I saw it on Instagram later, and I figured it was something to remember.
I genuinely, I haven't watched it. So was he just a lot more competitive this weekend, or was it like a fluke? Or
No, he was pretty competitive. It was a good race. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that was good. He was back up there, which is nice.
So will he be replacing
3 Aussies on the grid?
Yeah.
Sorry?
3 Aussies on the grid next year?
Yeah, hopefully. Pastry, Doohan, and
he doesn't want to play. I'm pretty sure, Rob, that your mate Mr. Logan's going to get replaced.
What? No, Logan.
He can't convert Freedom Eagles to the metric system, and he's going to get too confused on how to finish a race. I'd buy your Logan Sargent hat now, Rob, before he becomes forgotten.
I'm wondering if they're not as ugly as the Latifi hat, I'll get one. But if it's just a Latifi hat with the Latifi crossed out and Sargent written over the top, I don't want it.
Well, I mean, they've probably got They've probably got a bunch of them spare.
Yeah. I'm surprised they don't make the driver who's in that seat take the same number. They're just
It's
the names
just
of Valkyrie.
easier.
Yeah.
Just for cost cutting.
Yeah, and they can do the screens like McLaren have, and they can just change the name on it on the side of the car.
Would that be as cost cutting as Haas with their teeny tiny tech wall, where they only have 4 people on the little chairs?
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, the internet cafe, where you just have a bunch of people. Why do you need 8, or however many they have?
Well, you don't really need that many there. But
Red Bull, you only ever see Christian and I think Adrian, Nuri and like one other.
No, Red Bull has the two engineers, Adrian, Ginger Spice. I think there might be another person, maybe a general strategy person.
Yeah,
there'd be the 2 engineers, the strategy lady, which I've forgotten her name still.
and then Hannah Schmidt.
Yeah. So
her job must be either the easiest or the most stressful job on the planet.
At the moment, it would be fairly easy.
Yeah,
but the problem is you fall in the trap of what Mercedes did, where they essentially didn't need a strategy because they were that far in front. But then as soon as you have, Red Bull there, and as much as it looks like sometimes they're throwing Hail Marys at the strategy, they're making good calls. So then you get them stealing races. So if Red Bull, put their feet up and go, we don't need to worry about strategy, Alonso will get them at some point.
Yeah, I don't know if Mr. Ginger Spice looks like the kind of man that puts his feet up. He looks genuinely stressed.
You've seen what happens at Ferrari, and they're not having a strategy.
Yeah, that hasn't been successful.
Yeah.
Well, they did have a strategy. It's called 3 tires goes into 4.
Yeah.
And what tires do you want? Never mind. I'll give you whatever I've got back here. I give you best price on tires. You can have 2 softs, 1 hard, and a super soft. And I'll let you choose where they go.
It's the new Ferrari Robin Reliant. It just tips over all the time.
If you just keep one in the middle, Rob, you sort of got to do like a drift.
Yeah.
Just keep it off one wheel.
All right.
More questions?
I have a couple more questions. The Alonso's first penalty of not lining up correctly.
Yes.
It seems a little pedantic. Like he wasn't lined up properly. But how much of it's not like he was 4 meters in front so he could get but he's not benefiting himself. Just let him do that.
I think the issue with this, though, then is that so he's starting outside the box. Then where do you draw the line? If someone, say, lines up aggressively next to someone that's on another row, and I think this came in because you'd get people like Schumacher that would pull up essentially on a 45-degree angle that would be I am chopping across the front of you at the start.
Yeah, but he was to the far left, not into the track.
Yeah, but the problem is if it's one of those, which apparently they're cracking down on that this year, and it's one of those things that, if you say, that's okay, then the next week someone pushes it a little bit further, and then you're like, but Alonso got away with that last week. And then it gets to the point where ridiculous stuff is happening.
Well, I reckon they should just have a line that they have to be up against, and then just 2 lines in the middle that they're not allowed to go over, but they can go any side on any place on the other side.
I thought he was to the far left, so he was closer to the wall.
I just posted a link in.
Well, it depends which way you.
But
Are we talking
if you,
looking?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from the driver's seat or looking at the car.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, like you said, unless it's you know, you're doing that to aggressively. But also, wouldn't when he lines up, his team, like someone would be out there saying, "Hey, Alonso, just letting you know, you're a little wonky."
You can't really easily fix it.
Yeah, that's the problem. That it could be too late by the time he's kind of pulled up, and then they're like, little to the right, little to the right, little to the right, little to the right. Fuck.
Yeah.
And then they probably just thought, it's fine. We're so much faster than everyone, but Red Bull will catch up anyway.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was though, when that, like with George or whatever, George was pretty much on his tail, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, Alonso, might be handy if we had a 5-second gap to George."
Yeah.
You know, just for shits and giggles. And then you're like, "Oh, this could be," and then the next second it's just a 5-second gap, and you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Maybe you should have told him 10 seconds because that's the penalty that Ocon got last weekend for that exact offence.
But he would have. It would have been better for him to know that 20 laps earlier, not with a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, but when it all, like, he just seemed to open that gap so easily.
Yeah. Well, I think he was probably just not pushing anyway.
Yeah.
Why was there a delay in letting him know that there was the penalty from the pit stop? Because that one came in later, didn't it?
They had to get Massey on the phone.
Yeah,
I was going to say, is because they have to send emails now, and it took a while to get back and forth.
Yeah, and I would have thought what would have happened is that they they have the pit stop, serve the penalty and whatever. Mercedes gets on the email saying, "Hey, they didn't serve the penalty correctly. You should penalise them." And then the FIA investigates into it or whatever, and then Aston gets wind that it's being investigated. So that's how it flows down the chain.
Would Toto have seen the pit stop? Like, who would have seen, or would it just been footage?
Oh, yeah, they would have watched the footage. But they've probably got someone, like even back in Brackley, sat there and go, like, watching it and whatever, and they'd be like, "Hey, this happened."
Do all the teams have what I just want to think of as a snitch, who just watches every pit stop and goes, "Rob touched that tyre, shouldn't have touched the tyre."
Maybe Haas doesn't, but all the top teams would. It's like they all take spy photos and stuff of the other team's cars and all that. I mean, kind of thing.
You're not really going to be concerning yourself with Williams and McLaren. You can let them touch the car as much as they like. In fact, you probably just encourage it and go, just have an extra couple of crew. You clearly need it.
Seb's not touching their rear wings in the Parc Fermé or anything.
No.
Maybe you go and give them some tips.
All right, now my next question, Dave, is how much better is Alpine to McLaren? But you have to give me a value of Ricardos, which one Ricardo equals $18 million. So is it like half a Ricardo, 1.5 Ricardos?
I think at the moment probably about 4 Ricardos. But I think the key thing is going to be, if it's true that McLaren did realise that they'd made a mistake with this car, they'd stopped developing quite early, and they have essentially a B-spec car that's the proper 2023 car coming for Baku or whatever it is. If that's true, we could see a big turnaround in fortunes. So they definitely have the potential. Like if it was Haas kind of sprouting this kind of thing, you'd be like, yeah, okay, buddy. Like, calm down. You haven't built a good car yet. So, whereas you could feasibly see McLaren making a big turnaround in a few rounds.
Yeah.
And I think the key thing, like Alpine wanted to be this year still be fourth in the championship, but be closer to third place than what they were to fifth. Like last year, they were battling for that fourth, fifth position where they wanted to be more. Their problem is that now Aston Martin's jumped into that gap as well, which has put them to a clear kind of fifth. But they probably have improved that gap that they wanted to. It's just that someone else jumped in there. So they're essentially, you've got 8 cars in front of Alpine now. So they're not exactly scoring big points at the moment. So McLaren have got the potential, if they do get back into that fight, that it might only take one result, like a Baku where something strange happens and they end up getting like a fourth or something, that all of a sudden they make that jump back ahead of Alpine.
So when did they figure out they had a B-spec car? Because
they were talking like September, October, something like that last year, where apparently...
So when did they steal Oscar? Because they would have had to sell him on having a good car. Were they either just didn't realise at the time? Or?
The problem was that they sold Oscar on where worst case scenario is that we have Norris and Ricciardo for 23. You will have a reserve role and a race. Like 23, you'll be the reserve driver. 24, you will be the race driver. And that's what they sold him on. Whereas Alpine, he was sat there going, well, the dickheads have signed Ocon up for like 42 years. And you cannot... Alonso's smashing Ocon, so how can you get rid of Alonso when, you've put all your eggs in the Ocon basket for long term? So he would have been going, well, I've got no opportunity of getting race drive here, whereas these guys are giving me a contract that says I will be driving in 2024.
But haven't we learned contracts don't seem to mean anything with Oscar? You just put a tweet going, regardless of what you've heard, I will not be driving for Alpine next year.
Well, the problem was that was never actually a contract.
No.
So it was
a contract at all.
No, so what happened was for him to do the reserve driver role or whatever, you have to lodge a contract with the contract recognition board. So what they'd given him was like a term sheet or whatever that basically said like, this is what we're offering you kind of thing. And he'd sign like, yeah, cool, whatever, sign that kind of thing and handed it back to him. And then they were like, oh, fuck, to register him as the third driver, we have to. So they like, and as far as I know, they like crossed out like, term sheet or whatever it was and wrote contract on the top and handed that in.
Just cross the name out and put a new name on it. They're just doing the Rob way of contracts.
Well, and then the other thing is, though, the contract recognition board went, oh, yeah, got a valid contract. He can be the third driver or reserve driver or whatever they call it these days. Whatever Liam Lawson is, although Dan Ricciardo will be the one taking that seat. However you word it, Dan Ricciardo is the one who will be driving for Red Bull if something happens. But Liam Lawson's like the third driver or the reserve driver or whatever.
I reckon they should get Liam in.
You reckon Dan's just going to be the marketing guy who just does Instagram reels about him dancing and
running in shoes?
I'm just picturing, when Andy Bernard is doing the cleaning thing in the office, and then when he's about to be promoted back to being the boss, I could just imagine Dan with some like crappy overalls on and like with the broom, like just behind Perez's car, and then rips it off and he's got the race suit underneath, like from janitor to race car driver in a day.
Do you think they would do something? Let's imagine you're right, Dave, and Perez has to go for whatever reason. Max's dad's kicked him out. Horner's kicked him out. Someone's gotten rid of him. Do you think they will do a tasteless thing where they make Dan like dress up as like an apprentice and then become the race car driver? Or do you think it'll be a lot more tasteful and just be like, welcome back, everyone's favorite third driver, and then they'll play footage of him doing the dive into the Monaco pool and be like, "Remember this guy?"
They'll have like a big, the football where they run through the banner, but they'll have this big banner with Liam Lawson on it, and then Dan comes running through.
What happens to Dan if he ends up taking Perez's spot, but is like struggling to get out of the mid pack?
Oh well, then he gets replaced in 2024.
Yeah, but it doesn't look good for him though if he comes back and he's just nowhere near where Perez.
Yeah, but realistically, they're that far in front.
Yeah.
Even if he was as bad as what he looked at McLaren,
yeah,
he does what Perez is doing at the moment.
But he does pretty well in a Red Bull car, doesn't he? Like he's not bad when he's in the.
Well, he did in the past.
Like Dave said, most people are.
But that was a long time ago.
He did pretty well in everything but a McLaren, except for one glorious weekend.
Yeah. Lando should have won.
Robert, let me just quickly fact check.
Yeah.
I just had a look. Dan Ricciardo has the same amount of points as McLaren, and he's got no cars to drive.
Where's the soundboard?
So technically, he's doing more efficient for the same amount of points.
Well, yeah. So, although his the cost per point score is still pretty horrendous for McLaren. Yep. It's not exactly like the other ones are cheap.
Because I was going to say, Rob, do you feel that I'm just trying to check who's currently last in the F1 standings?
Latifi.
He will be last in our hearts, Rob, but never in our.
Unfortunately, this year we can't have a 21st out of 20 yet.
Well, I was going to say, who's going to when Dan comes in and let's say inevitably scores some points, who's going to be that poor unfortunate soul that comes 21st in a 20-man race?
Well, there's like 5 equal lasts at the moment.
Yeah,
there are. I'm saying that I'm going to say most of the rookies get overtaken by Dan.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be scoring. I think Dan's going to get a podium this year at least, because he'll toe the company line.
Why is this not on Sportsbet when Dan will replace?
Because we already know that it's going to be Spain.
Which race is Spain? Like which round?
Round 6, I think.
Six to go, Rob.
6. And where's Perez finished the last 2 races?
Well, that's the big problem, is that they're that far in front. It makes Perez look a lot closer than what he is.
Yeah, I know, but they're not going to get rid of someone who's won a race.
That
50% chance of winning a race at the moment.
That really foils my plan.
Yeah.
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 So if, Mercedes and Ferrari had done a better job and were kind of there or thereabouts in the championship, like last year, where Perez looked pretty ordinary most of the time.
Because he's second in the championship and you tend to not
by
just...
one point.
1 point.
Are you saying that your prediction's only not working because Toto and Ferrari can't do their job?
Yeah.
It's not your
if
fault.
They've done a better job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just going to blame everybody else.
Maybe Perez is just that good. He's keeping up with Max.
Well, there's only 1 point in it.
Yeah.
So
you tend to not get rid of your number 2 driver when they're second in the championship for no reason, for a bit of an unknown who struggled at their last team.
We're not talking about Williams here, so who had a bad habit of getting rid of their number 1 drivers who were leading world championships.
Yes, the mustache himself,
and then Prost, and then Hill.
Yeah, true.
They had a few cracks at it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're not good. They did post
No.
a photo of they posted a photo of Mansell today on Instagram, and I felt like commenting last time they won a race, just to shit stir 'em.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that they know, Rob, but they just don't need people to say it.
I don't know.
It's like when people put a comment from McLaren saying the last time you won a race, you got to remember because there's a tattoo on your boss's. Where'd the tattoo go? Was it the leg?
I thought it was arm.
No, it was arm.
Yeah,
It was on his shoulder, wasn't it?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it the back of the shoulder?
Yeah, it was somewhere up there, but that's got to be not in terms of pain, but that's got to be one of the most hurtful tattoos that man's ever going to have. Because I can't see them winning another race. Like, I obviously don't think Oscar's going up to him and going, "Hey, remember you and Dan had a deal that if I won a race, you get a tattoo." He's like, "Sure, I'll get a massive back tattoo of Batman if you want. I don't see you even getting a podium."
Maybe Piastri's said, if I get a podium, you get laser tattoo removal done on it.
It's like, damn it, I'm stuck with it forever.
Get it crossed out. Just get an $18 million on there.
Just Dan doing this.
No, Rob, it should be an American banknote, and it says 18 million, and instead of a president, it's just Dan Ricciardo smiling or doing a shoey.
With a top hat and a monocle.
And call them Dan bucks, and they're worth like 8 fruit bucks. I think that was the. Did I have any other questions? Oh no, I was just wondering why Verstappen's dad was so angry. Like, I understand his dad didn't win, but like, how do you're on one of the most dominant F1 teams going round. Can't you just be happy that your teammate's done well? He's come second twice.
No.
And the best you can do in live TV is just like that is the most stern. That looks like a man who's like walked into he's picking up his daughter at a Taylor Swift concert. He's like, I don't like any of this. Just walk in, get it, and leave. Like, he did not look like he was having fun.
No.
People would kill for that position, like to be standing, 2 or 3 meters away from a man that just won an F1 race, and he looks like he'd rather be anywhere else.
He's living through his son, because the only thing he's known for is almost being cooked alive in his car.
I mean, that's
pretty much the reason why there's no refueling anymore.
It took a long time.
Yeah, but that was kind of the start of the
year. I don't quite get that mentality. Like you should be pretty happy with what happened over the weekend, and then no, he never won a Formula One race. So I'm trying to remember. I don't even think he got a podium.
Didn't he?
I don't think so. Because I'm pretty sure he didn't with Benetton, and then he would have never got another shot really at a.
I'm just trying to find Max Verstappen's dad.
Because he was at Benetton in '94 when Schumacher won the championship.
Championships, none, wins 0, 2 podiums.
Oh, there you go. Where were the 2 podiums? Both in '94.
He scored 2 podiums with first Dutch F1. I don't know. Podiums, here we go. Formula 1.
Here we go.
I have no idea. No idea.
2 guys Google another guy's question.
Yeah. It was 94 in the Benetton, but I don't know where.
So both of them were in '94, were they?
Yeah.
Here we go. F1. He got Hungary and Belgium.
Yeah. Well, I had to do a scroll a little. scroll a little bit.
2/3 in a row, Dave. That's Alonso numbers.
But he also had
he's
6
practically as good
retirements.
Yeah, but they
He's,
used to have retirements back then.
I've never seen so many retirements for someone's career before.
Dave, it's got more retirements than an old person village. Yeah. He's retired like 80% of his races. He's worse than that. My new favourite F1 driver, what is he? Pastor, Mr.
Maldonado.
Maldonado.
At least he won a race.
Just looking at that 94 championship,
Yeah.
because Schumacher won the championship,
Yeah.
and he got to sit out 4 races, while disqualified from 2, got to sit out 2. Verstappen had to sit out 6.
Why'd they have to sit him out? Like, cause
he got banned from 4 because of an accident he caused, and then I think
I watched that.
He got replaced before the end of the year by, was it Herbert?
Oh wow, there's a few.
Yeah.
There's like 30. There's like 40 races that year, Dave. Was that just like if he didn't feel like it, he just took a day off?
No, well, you had so Senna died, which they used Coulthard and Mansell to replace him over the course of the year. You had Verstappen got banned for a few races. Schumacher got banned for a few races. So I think Benetton had 4 drivers as well. Trying to think with some of the others. You had Roland Ratzenberger died, so he was replaced for most of the season.
Verstappen only did 4 races.
In 94, no, Verstappen.
Oh no, he finished.
He only finished 4.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, after a while, if you're retiring like 3 races in a row, aren't you going to your engineers and going, "Hey guys, look, I don't want to point any fingers."
But when you actually look at those results, there is a lot of retirements over that year. Yeah.
Hey.
So I think it wasn't in 94, but 95 in Adelaide, there was only 3 people finished the race. And one of those cars was breaking down. Because Hill was, I think, 2 laps ahead of Panis, I think, in second, and then Morbidelli was third. And or was it Morbidelli second? But I remember one of the cars was smoking real bad. So it was essentially if Hill crashed or whatever on his last lap, the race would have then gone for 2 more laps while second place caught up. But he was more quite likely to break down, and then the next guy was 2 laps behind. So if Hill had crashed on his last lap, it would have gone for another 4 laps. It was ridiculous.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, 90. What's this? 95 Australian Grand Prix. They had 6 people.
But I think only 3 actually finished.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was 6 classified, but there was actually only 3 running at the end.
Jeez. So we've decided though that Verstappen's dad is garbage and he's just living through his son. And if anyone does wrong to his boy, they get that death stare. Is what we're saying.
Just careful what you say there, Matt. Dave is number 1 Max fan since he's got the Max hat on.
Number 1.
Watch how Dave changes his tune though as soon as Alonso wins the race and he joins me on the.
Oh no, I'm fully thinking about getting an Alonso hat next week.
I need to find somewhere to put all my hats.
On your head.
I don't like wearing them.
No, see, this is a Sebastian Vettel number 1 hat, which I did have a problem at the time because all the number 3s were sold out. So I was like, hey, well, I don't care. I don't mind Seb.
Yeah, I like Seb.
Mm.
Number 55.
And then it turned out to be his last year at Red Bull. And I was like, a number 3 hat would be a hell of a lot better right now.
This hat keeps breaking down.
Watch out, it'll set itself on fire soon.
Got the fire extinguisher handy.
So if we covered off everything this week, we've
Predictions?
nearly had like an hour.
I mean, I
chat.
snuck in my stupid questions through the whole thing, so like we didn't have to wait for 40 minutes.
Did
Yeah,
Matt,
but they were related to Formula One. They weren't.
I had the whole. I did them through the whole week of like looking
Yeah.
at stuff and then spending time on Wikipedia and then watching videos and then copying them and then adding them off with my own work.
will we have questions again next week?
I think we will. I think we're
Right.
going to have 10 questions from Matt that are slightly related to the race, but show how uneducated I am in the world of F1.
Because we have no motorsport this week apart from NASCAR with Jensen Button Racing.
Ooh.
Yeah, what's the go with Button racing and NASCAR?
I don't know. But
Fill
I'll
me
watch
in.
it. That's what he said.
No, that was fill me up.
I actually have no idea. As I was typing up the notes, I saw it, and that's
Because
as far
he's
as I got.
driving that Trackhouse one or whatever that
Yeah.
Kimmy
Yeah, I think
drove,
so.
isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think who was the other Russian ex Red Bull driver?
Oh, Kvyat.
Yeah, Kvyat. I think he drove before,
Kvyat.
but I think he's got his own drive now.
Torpedo.
Torpedo. Yeah.
That's right.
I
So he
think
wasn't
Torpedo was racing in the trucks or something, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's been in the Cup Series, so he's
Yep.
been racing that full time. I think now. Yeah, I don't think he's done very well, but
Well, he didn't do too
But-
well in Formula One. He wasn't that bad.
I wish I had one of his hats.
Maybe they have him on
Yeah,
Alibaba or something.
red bubble.
Yes,
Someone's
it's
picking
like
their
a
own.
Red Bull hat driver.
Yeah. So you could also get the Toro Rosso one.
Actually, don't mind his hat.
It is. Some of
Anyway.
the drivers' hats are very disappointing, though. Like,
Yeah.
like say this one, like it's essentially a Red Bull hat with the Seb stuff, and like yours has got the 55, like, but it's in general it's a Ferrari hat with 55. Yeah, but Matt, that's just an Aston Martin one, isn't it?
No, that's
Oh,
got
No, it's the
C,
Stroll.
Oh,
and it's got that,
Oh, yeah. See,
and
that's
it's got LS.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'd much prefer. Like some of the other driver hats, like I want to get an
This is
Alex
when I go
Albon
really
hat.
far.
This
But
thing.
it's
This is
got
like my
some-
favorite.
Yeah. See, that's
it's
really good. But
It's
like
got little red
I'm,
weed plants on it.
I'm like, I'll get an Alex Albon hat, and it's got some weird A logo thing on there.
That's his
There's
logo.
yeah, but there's no reference to Williams or anything like that, unless you are a hardcore. Yeah, but see, at least that says Williams, so you've got
Yeah.
half an idea.
It has the maple leaf.
Maple Leaf, yeah. But
this
some of
one
the
has
others, unless you
has a
are a
chili.
hardcore fan, you're
Yeah.
not going to know those. Like, say if that, like Matt's hat just had the LS logo on the front,
Means I'm
how
not
are you
Commodore.
supposed to know? Yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to know what team that's for? AMG Petronas Formula One team.
Like
Don't
I
even say
said,
Mercedes.
no one knows what a Patronus is. So you know,
Because you go around telling everyone how awesome you are.
Yeah.
So they all know.
was that hat made of hemp?
This
And
one.
like it, yeah, no, the McLaren, the Mercedes one.
Mercedes one.
Oh, this is non-biodegradable materials.
Full
Really?
recyclable.
Yeah. Like it. I'm glad I got this one on sale. It feels cheap.
How disappointing is it though? Like even like I've bought a couple on sale.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god, some people like some of the supercars ones, like you're like, some people have paid like $45 for these hats, and I'm pissed off that I spent like $15.
This one has fake carbon fiber on it.
Well, so some of them are genuinely like really good hats.
Like this one.
Yeah, but some
Hey,
of them
young
are horrific.
I think
Hey,
Rob
young
and I
people.
are the coolest guys on this chat.
Where's my
Well,
skateboard?
Definitely.
Yeah.
How's it going, my fellow kids? Hey, Dave, guess what? Blink 182 have reunited on your podcast.
Come listen to
This
them.
really took a turn for the worst, didn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't even me this time. It was
I was just
Rob.
saying, like 4 minutes ago, how well we were doing, and now look at where we're at.
Well, I'm going to have to update the notes now because now Matt has his 20-minute or 20 quick-fire questions that go for way too long. Did you actually see the notes I did, Matt?
I did not. This time I just went in blind. I find that it gives me more.
I did.
More,
I actually put in
more
there
balance.
Matt's 20 quick-fire questions that is probably closer to 10 questions that are not that quick.
Hey,
gotta-
Rob, can you play the guitar while asking where are you?
I might be able to learn some Blink 182, but
I think Dave might get copyright strike from your
won't be that
mate.
good.
You only have copyright strike problems if you're monetizing.
Yeah.
We're
Which
not monetizing
everybody
it.
like and subscribe.
Yeah, and share it with at least 1.2 million of your friends.
Yeah, we want Dan Ricardo money.
Yeah. So we can actually get some coining on
Yeah.
this.
We do some
we need
live
more hats.
reports from. Yeah, we need hat money.
I want Pepsi
That's the
hats
thing.
and hat money.
We're not going to do anything sensible with it. We will buy dumb shit.
Yes.
Yeah. We won't lie to you. We really need it for sugary drinks and a hat.
I'm pretty sure I said that to my work as well. I don't need all this money I get paid. I just want to buy some dumb shit.
I just need more sugar, please.
Yeah. I just want more records.
I think we've done well tonight, Dave.
All right. Should we reconvene here again in a week?
I think that's
Sounds like a good plan.
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Excellent. And Dave, you doing live report from the AGP?
No, I won't be. I'm still. Is anyone else want to come on Thursday?
I want to, but I didn't win any money on Sportsbet the other week to afford to.
Well, that's a surprise.
I mean, we told you. We told you just to keep your money and spend it on hats.
I actually checked the results of Sportsbet before I actually watched the race to see if I had any money.
Yeah, there's always money in hats, Rob. No money in sports bet.
No. I do not bet thinking I'm ever going to win money.
Well,
It's
the
also
way you
won't
bet, you're never going to.
No.
Yeah.
No. But even if I took the favorite, I would expect to lose my money. It's just,
I have thought about that sometimes. Like maybe I should bet on like Lewis, and then because it seems to, even if I make a bet, like it usually goes wrong. So
well, that's why I should start betting on Max, and Perez will just win every week.
Ooh,
Maybe I'll bet on Dan.
Well, he's not going to win at the moment, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I'll start doing some wild bets, like will McLaren's wing come off, Piastri's wing come off, and take out Lando's wing 4 cars back at the start.
Can you bet on stuff like that?
Red Bull take each other out.
Yeah.
Who's going to be will it be Red Bull or Alpine the first ones to take each other out?
I'm going to go Red Bull. I'm gonna go Red Bull. Hasn't been a bit quiet. I don't even think I've seen anyone really talking to him or care
What
about
seems to happen though, Hülkenberg qualifies really well, and
Yeah.
Magnussen qualifies shit, and then Magnussen races really well, and Hülkenberg just goes backwards.
them.
But they've got to meet in the middle somewhere.
They will, Dave.
That's
and they'll do this.
where the crash happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just been all the attention at the moment's on Alonso, and that's about it. Like they haven't been talking about any of the mid pack. They haven't really cared much about the mid pack. It's just Alonso. Sometimes they'll flash the Ferrari meandering around doing nothing.
And we get the constant Mercedes updates.
Yeah, of course.
Because
Alonso's the underdog story. You know,
he's the rookie of the year.
Yeah,
who might come in third this year.
2 years in a row.
Yeah,
3 years in a row. A couple of years in a row.
Yeah.
And then took a break and then won it again a couple of years back.
Yeah. It's like John Farnham and his annual final tour.
That's because his manager needs money, isn't it? He's just like, go on tour again. I need some more more Farnham bucks.
All right, so is that it for this week?
Yep,
I think so.
I'm done.
Well, see you all next week with Australian Grand Prix preview.
Yes.
Good.
See you then.
Bye.
They all.